Yeah, my name is Jeff Lanas. I'm a former professional boxer. I started boxing back in 1983 as a professional with amateur boxing for about 4 or 5 years prior to that with an extensive amateur career. My boxing career lasted from like 1983 until 1990. As far as boxing pro, from the beginning I was undefeated with my first 12 pro fights until my 13th pro fight, which is kind of an unlucky number. I lost my 13th pro fight when I stepped up to fight Carlos Tight, which I really should have won. He caught me with a punch. I went down, got up. I was a little wobbly, and they stopped the fight. So that was a real big setback for me. It was supposed to be like my first test, and I didn't pass it. So then people were saying, well, maybe he's not, what we thought he was. So then we went back to the drawing board. We had a couple more fights. We won a couple more fights, and I think we were 14 or 15, 16-1. Then we went to France and we fought an Olympic Olympic bronze medalist from France. His name was Chris Tiazzo, and we lost a fight when we went to his hometown. So that set us back again. We had certain injuries. I had a hand injury. I had to have an operation on my hand in 1984. It set us back a little bit. We'd take that next step, and then we got stepped back. We'd take 2 steps up and 1 step back. It was like it was starting to be kind of a hard situation with the boxing and being newly married and children on the way. So boxing took a back seat for a while. And then I was approached with a fight to fight Roberto Duran. Roberto Duran was an interesting fight for me because he was past champion, a lightweight champion, first fighter to beat the great Sugar Ray Leonard. He was a junior middleweight champion. He was a champion in 3 different weight classes, and he was pursuing his 4th championship in the middleweight class, which was the class that I fought in. And he was trying to, I guess he used me as a warm-up fight to fight his 4th world championship. I really didn't box much for like almost a whole year before I fought Roberto Duran. I was inactive for a whole year. And I actually wasn't even going to box anymore. I was going to just hang up my gloves. With that, I kind of thought, well, this is once-in-a-lifetime chance to fight a great fighter. And I think he had a really good boxing style for me that I could beat. If I really train really hard and get in really good shape, I have a good shot at beating this guy.
My name is Cynthia Lanas, and I'm Jeff's wife. The training was the difficult part for me and him both because he would have to wake up very early in the morning, run 5 miles. After his 5 miles, he'd come home, work construction all day long. He said he was going to take time off, but he really didn't. And he would work construction all day long. Then he'd come home from there. I'd try to get dinner made for him very quickly. It'd be a really quick nap, dinner, then out the door again to train at night. He trained extremely hard. It was a little bit of a toll, but it was, he put his heart and his soul into training and into this fight. And I knew when I seen him training, I go to the gym with him, and I seen him training, I knew he was gonna succeed. Absolutely.
I had everything to gain on this fight and nothing to lose. That's the way I approached it. The first two rounds that I can remember were kind of evident that I was there for the fight, that I wasn't going to back down, and that I was not impressed by his background and his prowess as a professional fighter, that I was in there to win the fight, and it showed. And I wasn't really nervous at all. As a matter of fact, in the second round, I was getting to him from the first to the second round so well that he hit me low intentionally. And I went down for the low blow, and at first the announcer says, oh, Duran hits Lanas with a body punch. He's down. He ain't getting up. And they showed the replay, and they showed how low he hit me. He came under the cup and hit me and knocked the wind out of me pretty good. And then once I got up, I sat down for about a minute for the rest. They gave you a 3-minute rest or a 5-minute rest. I got up within like 3 minutes. And then I pointed over to Duran, and I pounded my gloves together, and I said, come on, let's go. And he kind of like, oh, wow. And he stepped back a little bit, and he looked at me, wiped the sweat off his brow, and said, oh, man, this is going to be a long night. And it sure was. 10 rounds the whole way we went at it.
He got nailed. Lanas again, landing some good shots. A stiff jab to the head of Roberto Duran. They're banging away at each other. Good combination. One to the body, back to the head by Lanas. Lanas getting the better of it. Jeff Lanas proving that he can stand with the aging Roberto Duran looking older each round. Yes. The legs starting to go.
We get up for the 10th round. We look at each other. The bell sounds. He comes out with his macho, stick his chin out, put his hands down, and sticks his chin at me. Well, normally what he wants to do is stick his chin at you and then feint you, draw you in, and hit you with a right hand. Well, what I did is I stepped in with 2 jabs and hit him with a right hand right in the face. And I think he was, at that point, I think that was the crowning point of the fight. Okay, and after the bell, I thought for sure we won the fight. I mean, I couldn't see that. I mean, after the bell, my arms were up. My whole corner comes running in. All my entourage run in the ring. We win the fight. We win the fight. There's pandemonium in the ring, and Duran's people are looking around. They're like bewildered, and all my people are cheering, holding me up. You win the fight. You win the fight. Then they start to announce the scorecard. So they.
Judge Bill Lark scores it 46-44, favor of Lanas.
Then the next one they announce.
Judge Mike Leona scores it 47-46, favor of Duran.
And I hear, oh, it's a split decision. And I'm thinking, usually when they announce the first guy, the second guy's usually the winner. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. They're going to give him the fight in my hometown. And here they did.
Judge Jerry Jakubko scores it 47-45 in favor of your winner, Roberto Duran.
Roberto Duran scoring a split decision.
By split decision, Roberto Duran.
Jeff Lanas 46-44, Duran 47-46, and Duran 47-46. A moral victory for Jeff Lanas.
I really don't see where the judges see him as the winner because he was doing a lot of holding the whole fight.
He began to hold a lot more. Punch hold. Yes.
He didn't fight his normal fight. He just, I had him out of his total fight game.
I think it came down to a simple case for Roberto Duran. He just underestimated Lanas. I think, for one, he didn't think he'd be that strong. Number 2, I don't think he thought he could take a punch, and he proved both that he was strong and he could take a good punch. So Jeff Lanas and the crowd here is very upset. They feel that their man was robbed.
Well, as I told you, we might see this type of decision because I've seen it happen before. Not only in Chicago, but around the country. You've seen a fight, you've seen guys put all their effort into it and still walk away a loser.
I absolutely thought he won. I personally don't even think the tape does it justice. I think that when you're there and you're live and you're watching every angle, every aspect of the fight, you see so many more punches going in. And I really believe that even if you look at the tape and you were there, you would be like, it's not even close. It's not even a close fight, that he had the edge all the way, that Joe and Jeff had the edge all the way. Absolutely.
And Jeff Lanas was looking forward, but you have to say the young man represented himself well here tonight, and he's deserving of a shot with someone else, or maybe Roberto Duran again down the line.
Maybe a loss is maybe a good thing for Jeff Lanas. Maybe it'll be good for his career.
After that fight, I used it as more of a stepping stone than as a regression. You know, you fight a world champion like that, a 3-time world champion, and then he goes on to win the world title for the 4th time. Now that puts you somewhere in that elite category. And, you know, I wanted to start that as my stepping stone. But as time will have it, I got injured in a construction accident like 1 month after that fight, and I got 2 broken vertebrae in my back. So I was out for like 16 months. So now, after those 16 months pass, Duran already wins the middleweight title, goes and fights Sugar Ray Leonard for the 3rd time. he loses to Sugar Ray Leonard in a decision. Now, after 16 months, your name isn't brought up anymore. They start to forget about you. The public starts to forget about you for a while. I come back, I fight one more fight, and then after that, it was just tough to get fights. So I had to go back, I was back to work again. And what I eventually did was I kind of just said, that was my moment in boxing. A lot of guys, thousands of fighters never get to have that moment and shine at that time, which I did. So I just took it as a win, not as a defeat.
It's not that how do you get past it, it's more what was so upsetting is that he trained so hard. He succeeded. He won in everybody's heart and in everybody's mind. So why wasn't there a rematch? Why wasn't he ranked a high ranking in the boxing industry?
He's deserving of a shot with someone else, or maybe Roberto Duran again down the line.
Maybe a loss is maybe a good thing for Jeff Lanas. Maybe it'll be good for his career.
He wanted to get back in the gym, but I don't know if he mentioned to you or not, he was in a construction accident, and he had 2 steel I-beams fall on his back. So how do you go from recovering from that and wanting to get back in the ring and have a rematch, and no one wants to give you a rematch, and then you're trying to heal yourself from an injury, So it was definitely disappointing, but he's so successful at what he does today. He's a businessman. He takes care of himself and his family, and we look back and we're happy to be able to fight a living legend is a dream in itself, to take that step and say, I fought a 5-time world champion and beat him. That's more self-gratification. And I tell them all the time, you need to keep that in your mind and in your heart that you fought a world contender and you beat him in your mind and in your heart. And that's what makes this whole thing so exciting. Is it a Rocky story? Absolutely. It is. But it's a Rocky story with a happy ending.
My whole boxing career was, whatever I put into it is what I got out of it. So now with the construction, we started our own company, and we put the same effort that we did into boxing into construction. So we're pretty well out to do now. I mean, we're not rich or anything, but we live comfortably, and we have our own company, and we enjoy life to its fullest. That's good.